Okay, so to make the head, what I want to do, and I've already got this far, and I think I put this neck piece. Obviously, if it's here, I put it in the other video on the body. So what I did is I cut this line going around the base of the neck, and then I just um, extruded it up. So what I would do at this point is take these two faces, and I want to extrude those up. So I'm just going to right click and click extrude, and just bring that up like this. So if I looked at this from a left-hand view, I'm just going to hit L, and I'll hit F3 to go to shaded, and F4 to go to wireframe so I could see edged faces. I want to grab these, and I'm just going to hit W and move them back a little bit, like so. And his head is not that tall, so I'll bring it something like this. And since I have these vertices here, I think I'm just going to do something like, I'm just going to move these back a little bit, and I'll take these down a little bit on the back side. And from a front view, he probably is going to need a few more splits, obviously. Let's take this up a little bit, because, you know, he doesn't have enough detail yet. So I'm going to use an edge and do a marquee drag so I get all the vertical edges, and right click and say connect. So everything above this is going to, if I move down here, everything above this line is going to be this area, and everything below that line is going to be that area. So if you look, because of his snout coming out the top half, I need to kind of split this area. So I'm going to say connect again. Alright, so once I have that, I think this whole area kind of comes out. So I'm going to grab all of these faces, and I did that with a marquee. I just went to faces and grabbed all of them. And this one, oops, gosh darn it, there it goes. So what I want to do is I want to right click and say extrude, but I want to get this little button here. And it goes crazy, but we're going to go ahead and come down here and say local normal, and once we do that, it goes crazy still, but in a better way. And we can just pull this back a little bit, say to right there. So this looks messed up, and it looks messed up because if I delete this half, the reason it looks messed up is because, well, a couple of reasons. One, when we have the extrusion, you're going to have all these inside faces here. And that's just because where I extruded up, it gave me those extra faces. So I'm just going to delete those faces. And then when I extruded, I also got these extra vertices. So if I click on them, or just select them, and I right click here on the move tool, I can right click and move them over. So I can just, when I right click on this spinner, it's just going to center them out back to the center of the world. So I'll do it the same in the back, and I could bring this down here so it's closer, so I don't have to move as far. Alright, so there we go. So the benefit of having this extra, he's got a really wide neck on mine. The benefit of having this extra line here is I can make use of it for the curve of how his cheeks pop out. And you certainly add more detail later. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Alright, so what I want to do is extrude this out. And I'm trying to think if I want to go even further, if I want to go just right here, or if I want to go next to it. And I think for now, I think for now I'm just going to go right here. So, well, I'm going to put the loop in. That way, if I want to get rid of it later, I can. So if I extrude this just a little, and then extrude this a bit more. I'll show you what I meant about the neck. Anytime you extrude, you're going to get these inside faces in the middle. So, whoops, let's hit W and go to polygon. So I'm going to delete these faces that got extruded in the middle of the model. And again, when you extrude, it just has a horrible habit of taking things off centerline. So you got to come back and put things on centerline, which is not that big a deal, but it's just something you have to make sure you don't forget. So there we go. So I'm going to take these two vertices, and I'm just going to move them over and down a little bit. And let's take this one and just move it up slightly. And I have this little space where I had that other vertice. So what I can use this for is, when I say this, I mean this vertex. What I can use that for is to kind of give him a little more geometry in the front of his face. So let's pull this down. So that's because I took the time to make that extra row. And sometimes when you work in 3D, you'll do what I just did. Okay. So sometimes you can get away with doing stuff, and other times you just have to make sure that you only move with the arrows. As you saw, I was getting stuff that was getting really weird there for a second. And it's because when you're working in 3D, Max doesn't always know what direction you're talking about when you try to move the model, or move parts of the model in a certain way. So let's pull this down. So you kind of got to keep your loop straight. And it's a little difficult sometimes because you get those peaks and valleys in a polygon, and it makes it look like there's something more going on than there is. This is a row here. If I click on this edge and I ring, if I click on an edge and say ring, I can clearly see that there's a loop here, and then and I think what I want is I want to build my mouth. Well, if I do this route, I'll be taking it a little further than what we did in class. So let's try to do what we did in class first, and then we'll see about going further. So he has kind of a weak chin, excuse me, and so I'm going to pull this really far back, and at the same time we'll grab these verts down here, and we'll just push them way back as well and up a little bit. So this one could come down, and then these can go back as well. And it's still too thick of a neck. He's got a really, really thin neck. So let's take, I think I'm gonna do a little bit different on the nose than I did in class, and I'm gonna just do an edge loop right here because it's the same difference. And let's do another one right here. So I'm gonna say ring and connect. So I've got two loops, and what I want to do is just grab this one and squeeze it in, which is going to start to give me a nose shape. And then I can grab these verts and just push them down, and these two verts and push them up, and I can start to get the shape of that nose. So So I'm just going to grab all 4 of these on the tip and just move it up. And I'm looking at how it kind of goes up there. So it's, and this would go towards the center and then maybe a little bit forward. And it could be I got that, like the nose too big, which in 3D the cool thing is you can just scale it whatever it is. So you should always be double checking proportions. Alright, so, and this snout is a little narrower than that, so let's just pull this in. And so I think I would pull that back. Let's bring this more towards the center. And this chin, I want to bring it way back. So let's take this up. I kind of like the way it had like a dental arch to it, and kind of like if I'm imagining that being his mouth. So let's talk about his ears. Let's take this and I want to scale it front to back. And we're at 11 minutes already, so probably should stop this pretty quick. So I think I'm going to change how these rows work because I want an extra row here. I want this to be connected. And the reason why is because I want it to be rounder. It's looking very, very, very sharp. So I want to just pull this out to the side a little bit. Pull this one out to the side a little bit. From a side view, I want to grab these and just go back. And let's take this and round it out a little bit. So you always want to use all the vertices that you have to make the model as round as possible. So I'm looking at how the geometry goes and how I can do this. And what I'm thinking is I'm just going to connect here to here. These two. So if I connect that, and seems to me I can just connect these two. I can connect these two. So if I connect those, So I'm just looking at how to solve this edge flow, and I've got a weird thing here now going around, and I didn't really resolve it before I started. So now I kind of need to resolve it now. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this one and delete it. And I think I want to put something in here, so I'm going to connect that and just move it so I give myself a little bit more space here. And so I'm going to connect this. And what that's going to give me is an excuse to, excuse me, make this nose a little rounder. So let's connect this and back like that. So now if I look at this, I can get rid of this edge. So this is all quad still, and let's take this nose and bring it down like this. I want to make this a little rounder, the tip of his nose. So let's grab these points and bring them forward, and Post this one forward. All right. So if you look at the reference, he's got this part here where the front of his snout bends down. So what I want to do is just add a loop in here. And we'll grab these vertices and bend it down and take this point and push it back. And this is round, so this silhouette right here in the center, this is going to be higher than, not much, but you're still going to be able to see that higher than the rest of it. And I think this is, and this might, I'm trying, it's a really weird 3/4 angle, so it's hard to see. It's hard to see in terms of how far his nose sticks out. So let's take all this and move it up. And his chin is really kind of non-existent. I'm just going to pull this up, and we'll probably end up lowering his head. So this is going to go towards the center. All right, I think I've done about enough on here. I'm going to wind up with a 20-minute video if I keep going. And there is a lot of noodling when you start to model a head like this. It just, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I put that extra row in there and it caused me to actually put extra detail, and I probably should have kept it the same as in class. But anyway, here we are now. All right, let me stop this one and I'll go on to another one.